Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of our mini-series of Old Gods of Appalachia. I will be your host, your storyteller, your guide through the Hollers of Kentucky. My name is Ravnos Harkon. You can call me Will. And last we left off with our intrepid group. We opened up outside of the Church of Mary's Grace, which is predominantly Anglo-Saxon. Preacher Matthias Gaines unfortunately has passed away, and his apprentice and replacement preacher Joshua Hill was in charge of the ceremonies. The young Melungeon preacher pulled aside our three heroes, as it were, our three stars of our story, and let them know that the late preacher had left each of them a note, or at least they were involved in a kind of last will and testament. As far as John Boy was concerned, he was given the church's wheelbarrow, he was given a shovel, and he was asked to take care of the apple tree in the orchard. There was a letter, or rather a note addressed to Richard and Mabel Reagan. They were given instructions on who to talk to at the city bank, Elijah Howard's, and about accessing a safety deposit box that was left in their care. And as far as Luke is concerned, he was left a drawing of a flower not native to the region, as far as Ashland, Kentucky is concerned, as well as a hand-drawn map leading to a location by the mining tunnels. And while everyone kind of met each other for the first time and or reacquainted themselves with each other, for those that had been in each other's lives before, they ended up heading to Old Man Sage's house to kind of discuss the situation. The concept of a suitcase that was given to Mabel to deliver came up a couple of times before the weird things started to happen. Among them, a little bit of humming and singing that led to some very heartbreaking memories that were pulled up and teased for our characters. But I'm sure that tonight will be very different. As we left off with them coming out of the house the next morning to see the mound of 9 cat skulls that was left outside the property line with a little raven skull on top of it. And this is where we're going to pick up with our good people. Hello, everybody. It's good to see you again.
Hola.
Hello.
Hello.
You're happy to see us. I'm quite terrified after last week of seeing you.
Good.
You know,
my job here is done.
Well, that's game, folks. Let's go home.
Yep. So we're gonna pick up next morning. All of you have your pools refilled because I am a generous god, and you have a small mound of 9 cat skulls. All of them seem uniform in shape. There is a raven's skull on top of them. And you have 3 different avenues at your disposal. Well, 2, honestly, because who really gives a shit about John Boy and his apple pie and his apple tree? Except for John Boy.
I do.
Yeah, John Boy cares.
Yeah, man, apples are great.
Apples.
Make moonshine.
Yeah, you could.
you could.
Yeah.
Yeah, could make pie too.
Hooch. Yeah.
Moonshine.
I don't know where that word comes from.
Moonshine could be. It's a form of liquid pie. Let's go with that.
You know, you're right. You're right. I apologize for thinking like a peasant. You are obviously playing
You uncultured swine, you.
You are obviously playing 3-dimensional chess compared to me. I'm still playing Chinese checkers.
So, but
Um,
okay, so Rav, we
Yes.
did kind of have to clarify something. So to clarify to our players, since we went to bed and woke up,
Mhm.
if you would have went up to the loft, you would have seen that it was where you saw 3 footboards from
mhm.
down below. When you actually go up to the loft, you would have seen. Wow, my twang's there tonight, buddy. You would have seen.
Mhm.
A bed big enough for an adult couple, and then a smaller bed, and then that third footboard is actually a crib that was obviously never slept in. And
Mhm.
Luke would have slept on the comfy little pelts and furs.
But yes, so given that you might have taken a tour of the home, stuck close to the property, there's a story in the house. Whether or not Old Man Sage wants to get into it or did get into it, completely up to him.
Mhm.
But the next morning, you all have had breakfast, and coming out.
I apologize. I don't want to interrupt you, but I
Mhm.
know that there was one thing that we all wanted to do
Oh,
before the
We
last
would have
session.
done that. We would
yeah.
have done that.
There is no way
We
John
would've
Boy
done
would have
that.
gone to sleep
Yeah, no,
if
100%.
he, knowing that briefcase is still there.
Sure.
110%.
Y'all would have woke up. Luke would have still been staring at that damn suitcase. He would have
Just-
slept a bit.
Just eyeballing it like it owes you money.
Yeah.
If it
Sure.
would have moved, I would have smashed it. That's my feeling.
I
So we
get
got
it.
our moonshine.
Yeah.
We got our
So-
whiskey.
Would you have opened it last night or would you have opened it this morning?
That night.
Okay. I'm just,
What is
given
this?
the spooky shit that
no.
happened, would you have
Luke's gonna be staring at the wall for a while. So while you go through that, Luke's just gonna be sipping on the Jameson,
Okay.
the glass that he made for himself before the
Yeah.
worst thing ever.
You unlatch the suitcase. It has been, like I said, slightly heavy, but not too heavy. And as the lid comes up, the first thing that hits you is this delicious sugary aroma. It smells like sweet bread, fresh baked sweet bread. And the next thing that hits you is just the color, because there is a fall palette of reds, orange, and yellow flowers on a bed of earth. It looks like a mixture of standard earth, dirt, a couple of rocks, but there's a bit of red Georgia clay intermingled in the dirt itself.
Can I, by looking at, like, there's flowers in there, am I able to, considering that I've been throughout East Coast up until, and then gone over to, like, I go anywhere that I need to work.
Yeah.
For lodging. So it would be, so I just wanted to know if I recognize any of the flowers at all.
You don't. They.
Does he pull them out of the bag, or is you guys just looking at it?
No, you.
I'm not pulling shit out.
Yeah.
Okay.
It, like, the briefcase just flung open, and that's what
Yeah.
when we see that.
It. You know that you've jostled this suitcase. You know that you've carried it up and down with you, but the moment that you open this lid, it's like the flowers never moved. Like the bottom of the suitcase has always looked this way and has always been prepared for this flower bed, and the flowers have just existed in the state that they're in right now. They don't look jostled. They don't look buried. They look like there's a little bit of grass coming up out of the earth, but it's mostly just dirt. And then the flowers are coming up. They look like long, thin lilies that have their bulbs almost torn into these long spindles that come up and bend down, almost like they're flowery. There's too many appendages to be spinners, to be arachnids, but they do have that very small central part, and then just these long, daddy long leg type petals that come up. There's at least a dozen per flower, so it's not an actual arachnid. It is just...
It's like a spinner plant.
Mhm.
Yeah, no.
Mm.
They're very similar to the Japanese pink lilies that have the name of a very frightening insect to some people. So
I look over to Mabel. I'm like,
Oh, okay.
This
I had to pull it up.
this is something that you wait, just so I can get an understanding. This is something that Mabel brought when she met us, correct?
it was left in her care before she arrived in Ashland.
I think this is a very weird way to show some lady flowers, but I guess
What the
this is
frick is
how
this?
you get admired.
I don't know what it means. I think
I
it's
can use
crazy.
my
Actually.
herbalism area of knowledge. Do
Sure.
I know any symbolism to this, other than it's a?
Let's have you do the first roll of the night.
No,
Do it again. No.
do it again.
Look at
I
you
don't
choosing violence.
It's an enabler. All I got to do is I know flowers.
Mabel's just gonna turn around and get a little bit more whiskey and just pour it in the glass. Like this is just not. You want some? You like it, do you? Here you go.
It's going to be a simple intellect test.
Okay.
Do you want to throw anything at it? Any skills that'll help you? Any items that'll help you in your endeavor?
If I use edge,
Mhm.
well, I guess I wouldn't use. Sorry, if I use I don't use effort. If I used edge, is just going to make it easier, right?
Edge will cheapen the cost to throw effort at it. Yes.
Okay. I would like to. I was going to use living off the land, but I actually think that I'm going to use
Thank you. Much
Mystic
obliged.
Sense. I'm going to use Mystic Sense to see if it's mystical, magical, if we're in the presence of magic before we start going and touching things, and maybe if I can see if it's magical, help me identify it better.
Okay. So do you want to try to identify it first, or try to see if it's magical? Because you started with wanting to know what it was.
Sorry.
That's
I
okay.
would like to. Well, do I recognize this with my area of knowledge? Is kind of what I was looking.
Yeah,
at.
that's what we're gonna roll for.
I don't think I have anything I could think of.
Okay. So you could choose to just roll the die flatly, since you don't have any items or skills to throw at the test. And if you don't want to throw any effort at it, it will just be a flat die roll.
Oh, I got a 5.
Oh boy!
Starting off strong tonight.
Woo-woo.
Glad I got those edge of 2 though.
Yeah, should have thrown effort at it.
Yeah.
You have never seen this kind of flower before. And by all accounts, this is not a flower that is native to Ashland. And so the big thing I would think that you take away from it is this is now the second day in a row that you have been shown a flower that isn't from this region.
Did we get a copy back from him?
We got the original.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got the original.
You got the original note, yes.
So we have the map.
Yeah. The two threads that I had for sure were the bank this morning, and then the map.
Yeah, I think
With botany, would
Mhm.
I know what these flowers are
You could
and
roll.
where they're from?
You could roll.
I would love to roll.
Okay.
I'm rolling a d20.
You're rolling a
better.
d20. It's gonna be. Do you have anything else to throw at the test aside from botany?
Biology.
I think. Go to your character sheet.
I'm trained in both.
Okay. Yeah, you can throw both of them at the test. That'll reduce the challenge by 2. Do you want to throw any effort at it, or are you fine just with those two easements?
Let's just see where the dice is going to throw me.
Let's see what happens.
Okay, I got a 14.
14.
it's better than 5.
Phenomenally better. Almost exponentially.
Sorry. I would have given you my 14 if I knew.
That's fine. You know that the flower shouldn't grow in Georgia clay. Regardless of the hybrid of clay and earth that you have, you know that clay grows specific types of flowers, if at all. To have the clay almost like veins carving their way through the earth in between the flowers is more strange than anything else. But given that you also saw the flower that the preacher had drawn, you're in the same boat. 2 days in a row, you've seen 2 flowers that don't belong in this region.
She will fifth grader this explanation so she doesn't go into a long diatribe of what this really is, because she
Smart.
realizes folk gonna folk and we'll just keep it simple.
It might have still been too advanced.
Yeah.
Hence why fifth grade this.
I understand her some non-flowers.
Yeah. So it's a lot to think about overnight. Do you close the suitcase after you're done looking at it, or do you let the flowers kind of breathe?
I feel like since I couldn't get anything with I didn't understand it off the bat. I am going to try and mystic sense it.
Oh, okay.
And just see if it is, because I don't know what it is. Let's see if it might be a little extra special.
Okay. What are you using specifically for that? Just your understanding magic?
Just the special abilities mystic sense. It says you can sense whether there's something mystical or magical going on in situations where its presence is not obvious.
Okay.
You must study an object or location closely for a minute to get a feel for whether it is mystical, whether a mystical touch is at work.
Okay.
So, I've just been sitting here looking at it, drinking the whiskey, because I don't recognize what it is.
Yeah.
And I'm a little irritated at that the universe not letting me know what it was.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, and given the 5th grade understanding, the little explanation, the watered down explanation of what these are, the moment you kind of glare at the plants to will and understanding out of them, you see that each of them has a thread invisible to the naked eye, but they all wrap around Mabel.
Miss Mabel, do you recognize anything about these flowers personally to you? Maybe your late husband had some connection to the color or the flower, or he described them before.
What would Mabel know, storyteller?
As far as the flowers are concerned, we
Kenny likes to pop in and out.
no, wow,
Jesus.
yeah, it's okay.
And like him, you have returned. Welcome back.
Yes,
You've risen. Welcome.
You have risen.
it didn't take 3 days either.
Just 3 seconds.
Everything's in place. Everything's in place. All right, cool. Sorry about that.
No, I think these are unknown to Mabel. There's definitely pieces that are shared with other flora that she is familiar with, but this is a strange flower, period. There's things that this kind of flower shouldn't have. Like you see that there are thorns, but they're not spread out like they are with roses. They're all a circular little kind of claw at the bottom of it where it digs into the earth. The stem is thick, but it looks frail. The all of them kind of have a lean. There's like this little kind of lilt to all of them, and they're not uniform. It's not like you carrying the suitcase around has made them all lean in one direction. Some of them are leaning towards the bend, towards the flap in the suitcase, and some of them are leaning towards you. As Luke is observing the threads, you will see that some of them just kind of slide down Mabel's legs, and then just kind of creep over towards Luke and John Boy.
Oh no, okay. So that was going to be my next question. Is did it look like this was an ongoing process that may have started when we opened it, or if it was a process that that Mabel may have already been latched onto in the transit?
It looks like opening the case has strengthened the threads.
Okay. I'm going to stand up, and if they're close enough, if we're like on the couch kind of deal, I'm just going to pick them up by their armpits, hoist them up, and try to get us away from this. And I'm just going to try to kick the.
Whoa! Wait! What's going on here?
Got to close this. Ma'am, I don't know you.
Okay, and I go and I reach over to close it.
What?
I go on.
What the fuck?
I'm just can I get the suitcase closed? Does that do anything to what I'm seeing?
The threads vanish the moment the lid is closed.
I'm gonna lock it back.
Look, I was just told to bring it here. I never looked into it. I don't know what it is. The clay itself I've never seen before. But at the same time, I'm looking at the flowers aren't even natural.
No, they're not. So the tendrils completely disappear. They're not still like on her. Okay.
They're gone. They're vanished.
When we open it up, if we open up anything else, just let me know. I wasn't looking. Sorry. And
Can we open this up?
I didn't know the night could get weirder, and it got weirder.
Right, because you turned into a farking bird.
Oh, that's the normal. That's the most normal thing that's happened tonight.
I beg to differ on this.
Second. Second.
Okay, bird or suitcase? Which weird thing do you want to hear that I don't want to hear?
To be quite honest, it's flowers. All I know is that we open flowers, we look at flowers.
Yes.
You grab me.
Sorry about that. It was. I probably was
so.
Me grabbing.
Please explain.
Yeah. So I don't know what flower it was. I've never seen nothing like that. She described it, and I was like, okay. It kind of relates to the bird thing.
What the fuck?
Oh God.
Pick it all, man. Just spit it out.
Magic, whatever y'all. It's just an
Is
understanding
it bad?
of how things works, an understanding of the world. There were, I know it's hard to describe because I saw it, but it's not really there. It looked like little vines. Yeah, I know you guys didn't see it, but little vines.
Mhm.
A lot of them were wrapped around you, Miss Mabel, and then some were crawling. They were already on the floor, but they were crawling out of it towards me, and then towards. You said I call you JB. I'm sorry for grabbing you. If you want to go back to John Boy, we can go back to John Boy.
No, JB's fine. I'm just trying to. So you're saying
Picked the clothes, the vines, the tendrils, those went away. So I don't know how long they were on you, but they're gone now. Let's keep that closed.
Can we just put it in the fire?
That sounds like a great idea.
It does, but
Fark in Ireland.
Yeah, we were given those flowers for a reason, though. Do we want to? Where
is the note? Was there a note on it?
Have the originals? No, I guess you would have, Miss Mabel. You'd have.
I'm talking about the note that came into the suitcase. If there was a note or something,
there was
kind
no
of
note.
explanation.
I
storyteller just marked us. It's fine.
No, the suitcase came into your possession with you and your husband's possession, and the only caveat was it could not be opened until you arrived at Ashland.
All he said was, "Do not open until Ashland."
Okay.
Here I am in Ashland.
And
who gave it to you?
You don't know who gave it to you and your husband.
It was left on a doorstep in front of the brownstone we were renting while he was trying to live and unfortunately died.
Well, we have two options on why you were sent it and told to bring it here and only open it here.
Okay.
I don't mean to speak ill of you or of your late husband.
That's fine. Just be blunt about it, sir.
Understood. Either you're supposed to bring this here to somehow strengthen yourself because those vines add foundation. I don't know. Or it's to bring it here because those things were about to do something to you. I don't know. It could be good or bad, but after what I just saw, I don't think anything's out here for our good graces.
So we went ill.
Yeah. I mean, it could be great. I don't know who sent it to you, so I don't want to say, hey, your husband was into some weird shit. I
have no idea. We were coming back to Chicago. That's what we were doing. And when he got ill, we were told to stay there and quarantine. And influenza is going to be influenza, regardless of what it happens to me or you or whoever. The disease is going to be the thing. But unfortunately, I don't know Ashland at all until this suitcase came, and then I was told to come here and bring it here. That's all I know.
I'm still a little. What's that word that guy used? Kerfuffle. That's the word. That's a big word. I like to remember those. I'm gonna write this down. But I wanted to know who told you or your husband to not open it till you get to Ashland?
It was on the note. No one told us anything.
Nothing.
The case was in front of the door. We got a ring. My maid brought it in. I read the note. I told him, and he said that I would have to take a truck to Ashland here and deliver it here.
Okay.
Well,
so
another question. Is tendrils like vines? Because you keep saying, is it the same thing?
Tendrils are moving of their own volition and self. It's like you moving your arm. It is a tendril.
I thought it was just shape. I was thinking like smoke tendrils and.
I think of a squid. Have you ever seen a squid?
A squidopus? Octawid.
Octopus. Octopus. They have
As they're
tentacles.
talking like this, I grabbed the briefcases. So
legs.
I'm just trying to see if there's an engraving, if there's a name, if there's anything significance on there that someone would have.
You check it.
Mhm.
It is. You latch it closed first, because otherwise you would risk opening it. And as you kind of look at the inside of the handle, there is this little ovular brass plate, maybe. I don't think John Boy knows his metals, so
No, he wouldn't. He wouldn't.
yeah, it looks shiny. It looks like it's seen its wear and tear, like it's weathered metal. But there is this beautiful crescent moon of a G etched into it.
And I tilt the handle so that they can see it. And I'm like, I know this letter, G.
I know this.
I'm
letter.
guessing it's a first or last name.
Miss Mabel, does G mean anything to you? Your husband named Grant. Jeffrey, spelled
You know a Greg, maybe?
Greg.
God. Just take another sip of the Jameson.
Oh yeah. Speaking of which,
My husband's name
at this
was
point, I'm
William.
just grabbing the bottle.
Is what
William
was it?
T. My husband's name was William T. Reagan.
Well, whoever
So-
G is, I don't know that they mean you.
Would
they mean
Mabel
you
know?
ill intent.
Oh, would Mabel know anyone with a G name? Storyteller.
Um,
Yeah, you know a couple jabs.
I mean, there is a Gregory back in Boston that you met. There was a Greaves, last name Greaves, that had his family had come over from London and set up shop in Salem, Massachusetts.
Yes. No, yeah.
A bookstore, I believe, is what the family business has been.
Burning.
Those
witches.
librarians.
Fucking can't trust them.
Swear to God.
All that reading.
Yeah. I think you might have met a Grant once on the way down.
But is that before or after I received the?
After. Yeah. Gregory was you met him in Boston before you got the suitcase. Mr. Greaves you met before you got the suitcase. On the ship over, actually, from the old country.
You met Urini?
Fucking guy, bro.
Swear to God.
Miss Mabel, if I may.
Aye. Go. Look, you can call me Maple and just be blunt about it. There's no real need for so things with this thing in front of us.
You see a little bit of smoke tendriling out of Luke's ears as his brain fries.
Just be blunt, man.
If you haven't met us, if you hadn't met us and shared great company and wonderful times in the woods, and you had this luggage, would you have opened it up before you would have found out about the safe deposit box? Is that something you okay?
Absolutely not. I probably would have given it to the preacher, or maybe somebody else. I would look for someone in the like a mayor,
right? Storyteller. She tried to give it to him, and he was like, "No, I don't want it."
No.
Yeah.
No. You never tried to offer the suitcase to the preacher.
No, the dead preacher is who she would have given it to.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Because she knew of him.
Yeah.
So whoever G is,
kind of dead before I get there.
I'm just going to assume based off the briefcase. Is it a man's briefcase or suitcase, or is it like what kind of suitcase is it? It's just
Is the carpetbaggers?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
is this Parisian? Is
No,
this
it's not fancy at
Is
all.
it Samsonite?
No.
okay? So
Um,
probably, so whoever the G-man is didn't expect you to open this up before the safe deposit box. So that might be where we figure out what to do with this.
So should we go to the bank then first thing in the morning?
And you just take a sip. I
I
think
have
so.
to keep my papers because they're going to ask me.
The preacher that did pass away, his last name is Gaines.
Hmm.
You're right.
Matthias
Okay.
Gaines.
Matthias Gaines.
Yeah.
Did he have a widow?
Gaines. No,
He's really good at making
it's a man of the
tea.
cloth.
Protestant preachers married, so I don't know. That's why I was asking.
Yeah.
He's not Protestant.
Not,
Oh,
In
so he was
this-
a priest.
In this territory, you get run out of the town.
In this climate of this time,
I don't know.
In this economy,
I'm Irish.
no.
I'm Irish. New here. I have no idea what's Catholic.
Take
and
your
Protestant.
witchcraft somewhere else.
Listen here.
um,
Well, let's just say how about this? We go to the bank first. We go over to the church and give it to the priest and see what the priest says.
sounds like a plan. And then we
I
go to
don't
bed.
mean I don't mean to run down y'all, but I mean I'm looking at this like looking at this off of our
Well, I
hands.
think that's exactly. I think that's.
Okay.
We did
Look.
something that
Yeah.
was meant to be done, but not in my house. And I think the only way to have that information is safe deposit box. And I don't
Yeah.
want
You
it
need
done in my
salt
house.
or something spread
There you go.
about. If there's any bad juju
I-
or something.
Mm-mm. No, there's whatever could do that to my hedges isn't worried about a little salt.
I don't know. I don't know much about anything other than the Fae. Or the Fae folk. That's all because I'm Irish and it's stories from another time in another place. You have your folklore, I have me own.
Yeah. I understood.
Yeah.
Uh,
you go back.
all I want to say is if we take it to the bank, we find out and we find out nothing changes after. I'm saying we set it on fire, like maybe said.
I agree. Somebody wants us to open it, but they wanted her to open it after that. Now, whatever we get, we have a little bit of knowledge of what's inside the suitcase.
Aye.
And if it tells us, hey, go to the church and open it up nearest the preacher of the masses, do you want vines wrapping around that preacher? Of course not. What would we do without our community? Maybe we want it, maybe we don't. But at least now we'll know what happens, what could happen. We know what's in the suitcase, so we can make that informed decision.
But are you leaning towards it being bad?
Yeah, 100%.
Being
I
good?
agree. We should burn it. I just curious.
I just want to make sure we eye to eye. I think-
you can use my moonshine to set it on fire, burn it.
Yeah.
And if there's
I don't know.
anything left, I don't care if it's that little. I don't know. There's brass.
You see,
kind of
I
metal,
pull out a
burn
little
that
flask.
too.
There's a little flask that he does carry that I've already have siphoned some of that before. I'm like,
Yeah, I think that's the only strong path.
Yeah, gonna have to.
Sure. So we can dissolve, cut, and fade to the next morning.
yep.
And
Were you-
So I see 9 cat skulls with a raven skull on top of the.
Yep.
Oh.
Yep.
Okay. I thought it was.
And it was arranged in a certain way.
Yeah.
Is it
little
perfectly
pyramid.
arranged?
Yeah, a little pyramid of skulls.
I'm going to take the crow skull off, or the raven skull off.
The moment you touch it, all the skulls turn to dust.
Even the crow skull.
Even the crow skull. They all turn to dust and just scatter.
I'm gonna spit in that dust before it scatters.
You got it.
I'm pissed off. I've been thinking about that for a week. All right, I'm gonna kick the cat skulls. I'm gonna take my century skull and keep it with me. No, okay.
Yeah.
I'll spit on your fucking ashes while they blow away.
Yeah. No, trust me. While you've been thinking about that, I'm like, I've been thinking about what are they going to do to this mound of skulls? And how can I stop that?
Mhm.
why? I thought it was just
I was gonna trace some
one
shit.
cat. But there was 9 now blown away into the wind.
I want to pat him on the shoulder. Aren't you glad I didn't let you stick your hand in there?
Uh, uh, sure. I'm all
Man,
twisted.
we're
I
learning.
have
We're learning so much
no
about
idea.
JB that he knows the letter G, and he
He
can count.
does?
And he can count to 9.
Yeah.
He's
I
really
mean, I
leaning
got
into the fact that he
hands.
didn't put points
I
in
can
it.
count to 10 at least. 10. I can count to 10.
Oh, I don't want to burn one. As we walk and talk,
Mhm.
I guess down the hill. So I guess I do owe you another story about
Mhm.
the other weird thing that I can do. If you guys really
Wait.
want to know,
Sure, I'm
I
all
mean,
ears.
I can turn into animals. I made a deal with a woman in the woods. I can turn into animals. So it's really handy to fly around the perimeter real quick. But that is pretty much the distillation, since we're talking about that shine early last night, of the story. Because I
I
didn't
mean,
see that was the woman in the woods because I was still in trance mode, right? Or did I see her with? Because Mabel was the only one that saw.
Yeah, once the siren song was broken, you saw her.
And that lady last night.
Ah, well, she made it personal then to you.
It's been personal between us for a long time, but I
Good to
didn't
know.
necessarily expect her to be aggressive towards me.
Why did you? I don't want to get too particular because I don't want you to
Well,
be all
she believes she gave me a gift out of kindness and expectation of returned investments, errands, really. But
Mhm.
when you think you're dealing with just you wanted blunt.
Aye.
When you expect you're dealing with a human, you don't expect to have to analyze everything that's said and done, much like you're familiar with from your folklore, like we're talking about.
Oh,
She was not. She was something else. She is
you made a deal
something
with
else.
somebody that you didn't read the fine print on.
a witch. Yeah, this makes a lot more sense to me. Yep.
So the gift that I can, in return for sometimes using the ability to turn into critters, for her, I can do it for me.
Ah,
So like any critters, like but like something big, like a bear, maybe.
Oh yeah, no. For a while, it was really fun trying to figure out all the things you could turn into, and I found out I kind of have to know what it is. You can't just describe it. I'd have to kind of see it.
But you've
But
seen a bear.
yeah, I've seen a bear.
Okay.
But
I
Then
have
we
a
you can
fine.
do a lot of stuff with what once your mind can see it. It's weird how you can turn that, let's say, a bear into something bear-like, but not.
take a turn into a mountain lion.
Yeah,
Wait,
That's formidable.
there's lions in mountains.
Aye, 'tis.
Okay.
He's just a big cat.
can't
Aye.
mount.
Okay.
Uh,
I
you-
mean, if it's anything like a panther, I'm
Yeah.
not gonna touch it.
You take them down the hill, and when you get to the bank, it's right off of Main Street. It is there's 3 faces. 2 of them Luke recognizes, and JB recognizes them as well. These are all new to Mabel. There's a 3rd face that Luke and JB don't recognize, though. Youngish man, maybe late 20s, early 30s. But the main face that you recognize is of the kind of not security guard, but definitely the eldest clerk at the bank. So he counts as a security guard. This is Elijah. He's talking to a gentleman that you both know as Hugh. Hugh Nivens works for the smaller of the two newspapers in Ashland. You also notice that there's sitting at the corner, kind of batting at something on the lower step, is a Siamese cat. But you hear that Hugh is trying to get into the bank. Elijah is keeping him from coming inside, and you also know that the other gentleman is standing in front of the door as well, and he looks out of place for Ashland. He's got a long coat. He's got a vest that looks like there's a fob watch, chain, slacks. Doesn't have boots. He actually has work shoes. Not nice, but definitely not from Ashland. Like, this is big city shoes.
Would I recognize the look?
He looks kind of like a big city police officer.
Does he ping my little "don't trust the law" radar? Does he look like a cop to me?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh,
He
I don't
when he
need to know
sees
who he is, but I think if he looks like a cop.
when he sees the three of you coming up, like he'll put his hands on his waist in such a way to kind of move his coat back and show you that he has a revolver. And he also has a 5-point star in a circle that you would recognize as a marshal's badge.
When this is happening, right, as we're coming up, I actually want to stop, let these guys walk forward a little bit.
Yeah.
In my pocket, because while we're walking and as we're going through all of this, something snaps in my mind. In my travels, I was able to have a bag that somebody gave me. It was like a little fine powder in this bag, and he told me that if I ever have trouble with the law, well, to use it.
Okay.
So I actually, I didn't think twice of it. And now that this came up, I'm like, well, he could have put it. So I reached down and put it in my shoe, and I'm trying to remember.
This is your poke bag?
Yep.
Okay. So you're using the first use of a cipher.
That's a good use.
And I knew the words that and I actually wrote it on a piece of paper that I can try to remember. I'm like, every higher power that should come upon me shall see me in glory. No, wait, glory. There we go. See me in glory, and then just puts it in, and I'm like, all right, time to talk to Copper now.
I love it.
So I race back up so that I can get to where they're at.
And I'm going to Miss Mabel, and I'm going to actually walk and as look like I'm escorting her up, because does he look like he's trying to stop me or stop us from approaching the building?
He looks like he's stopping everybody.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was like, we're not doing anything wrong. We're here on
and even Hugh, he's not trying to push past Elijah, but he is definitely kind of leaning around him. Like he's trying to look into the bank. And you overhear, come on, Elijah, this is a big story. It's not every day that you see the man in charge of the business that has come through here coming into town. I just want to get a few words from Mr. Barrow, that's all. And Elijah's like, orders of the The bank manager, Mr. Birmingham, has asked that nobody come inside that doesn't have bank business. Hugh, I appreciate you, and I gotta keep you outside. The marshal here also has been told that he is allowed to shoot anyone that tries to get past me. So please, for your sake, don't do anything stupid. And he just kind of shows him his notebook and his notepad and his pencil, and he's just like, "Come on, Elijah, I need to get a quote. This will be my big break. I want to know what Mr. Barrow's doing here. You know, does he know about the union? Is he gonna do something about it? Like, I just need to know." And Elijah just kind of holds up his hand. Move aside, Hugh. I think people are trying to come use the bank. And he looks back at the three of you, and he kind of meekly moves to the side. But he does kind of, "Come on, Elijah, let me in with them." And he shakes his head, and Elijah looks at the three of you. What business do you have here, if I may ask?"
And I actually start. I move forward. I'm like, my apologies. It unfortunately, the former pastor passed away, and the new leadership, Pastor Hill, forgive me, Father Hill, uh, gave us something for Ms. Mabel here, and we're just coming on through to get to what is given to her, which is from I believe it's a safety deposit box. We're just happy to help get inside and help her out with that business, if you don't mind.
Marshal Prescott, I don't know this woman, but I trust JB. And I'll be honest, I haven't seen you in a dog's years, Luke. You don't really come into the city much these days. But they're good people, Marshal. If she's got business here, then she technically can be let inside. And
I do have a paper if you need to see it.
he holds up his hand, his left hand, but he keeps his right hand like on his revolver. That's all right, ma'am. I believe you. He looks inside. I believe my employer is talking to the bank manager right now. So if you want to help them, Elijah, I'll make sure that Mr. Nivens, and you see him re-grip his revolver. I'll make sure that Mr. Nivens stays outside, as he has been doing. He's like, "All right, yeah, that works. Come on inside." Miss Mabel, you said?
Mrs. Mabel.
Mrs. Mabel. And he holds the door open for you, and you see the marshal kind of step to the side as all three of you are coming up the steps, and he just holds out his hand and puts it on Hugh. And as he does, the cat meows and rushes off.
Can I do a see the unseen on that cat?
Yeah, it's a cat.
Okay.
It's a cat.
While it's on, does the marshal look any extra awesome?
The marshal has tendrils of shadows that are coming up out of his own shadow, but they don't look aggressive. They look more like they're attentive, almost like if they could end in eyes, they would. That's almost how they act.
At everything, or like the three of us, or Miss Mabel?
There's one tendril that's got its focus on each one of you, and then there's one that's focusing on Elijah. There's one that's focusing on Hugh. And there's even one that kind of like turns his attention towards the cat, but then dismisses it and sinks back into the shadow.
Well, I actually don't have any official business. If you guys want to go ahead and walk inside, I can get Hugh off this marshal's porch and out of his face a little bit. if you guys just want to go in there and tend to the last rites, and then maybe we'll meet back outside, and we'll let the marshal do what he needs to do, and y'all take care of what you need to do, and I'll get you out of the way.
Sure, not a problem.
Sounds good. Yeah.
Take it quick.
Marshal,
Much appreciated for your help.
They will head inside.
Okay.
JB, like, I'm gonna go ahead and look at Luke like,
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I need to know. I don't want him to die, and I need to know.
I look at him like, okay.
I'm worried he's gonna die.
Just go ahead.
Okay. So Mabel and JB are going inside.
Yeah.
Outside, though, since we've got this nice little smaller contingent, Elijah has gone inside. He's led Mabel and JP inside. The marshal, once he sees that you're going to help him keep Hugh out, he puts his hand back down, puts his left hand on his belt buckle. But now his right hand relaxes, so it's no longer on his gun. It's at his side. He's let the coat kind of come forward so that it covers the gun, so he's not startling people. And he's like, look, I get it. I know that you got a job to do, and I got a job to do. And Mr. Barrow just doesn't want to be bothered while he's in the city, is all. He's here with his new wife, and privacy is preferred, if you understand. Hugh nods, and he writes down something very fast. I get it. I understand.
I'm gonna kind of signal to the marshal, like, do you want me to get him out of here? I don't want to say it out loud where Hugh can hear it, but like,
yeah. I mean, Hugh is not the smartest person. Like, he doesn't belong on the newspaper, but he's there because he can write.
fair. Okay.
So he sees you like make the motions, and and he kind of, if this were an anime, he'd have the little nose, the nostril bubble, kind of. Like he's
So
staring
just
off.
bored.
Yeah.
Come on, Hugh. I want to talk to you about why I can't get the newspaper on top of my hill. I'm just gonna kind of walk him off.
All right, and he does.
All
He
I want
walks
to
it.
do is bleed him for information on why he's there and why the marshal is there. And if there's nothing, then I'll just go back.
He tells you the same thing that you overheard. He's there because he heard, or not him, but the editor of the newspaper heard that Marcus Elias Barrow is in town, and given that in the last week his miners have stopped working under the threat of unionizing because they don't appreciate the work conditions, it's a little convenient, given that every time that a Barrow shows up, his strikes are busted and the people get back to work. So he sent Hugh to try and find out whatever he could straight from the source.
All right. Oh, now I feel bad. I'm just going to go back. If the marshal will let me in, awesome. If not, I'll keep an eye on the marshal outside with him.
Okay.
And wait on my friends to get out.
Yeah, once you come back up to the marshal, he's like, you can feel free to go inside if you want to help your friends out. It's kind of stuffy in there. The more bodies, the less. Mr. Barrow has an air about him that he leans over and in a hushed tone, he's like, his ego takes up a lot of space, if you understand.
I know how to be a small man around big men when I need to be.
I don't. And he taps his badge.
Understood.
And he looks off in the direction that the cat took off. But then he goes back up and leans up against the side of the door.
Sir? Give him a nice, good, polite sir on the way out.
Yeah. On the way in, you mean?
Yeah, sorry, on the way in.
So
I wanted him to leave.
yeah. While you were talking to Hugh inside the bank, Miss Mabel and JB will see that the bank manager is a wafer of a man. JB will recognize him as Garrett Birmingham.
Okay.
He is thin, older, maybe late 40s, early 50s. He has a little bit of a hunch from the years of him working the desk. But when you come in, you hear him just kind of shake hands with Mr. Barrow really quick. And he's like, it is a pleasure to have you in our bank, Mr. Barrow, and congratulations again to you and your wife, Samantha. I wish you nothing but the best for the rest of your days. And I look forward to your continued business with us here. And he pats a safety deposit box that's on his desk. I'll go ahead and put this back for you. You don't have to worry about that. But if you'd like, my wife and I would love to have you over for dinner tonight if you have the opening. And you'll both notice that the woman in the conversation isn't in the conversation. Excuse me. She's staring out a window, kind of lost in thought. Very typical of the time, as most women were not allowed to participate in their husband's business dealings because patriarchy. But Mr. Barrow kind of puts his hand on the safe deposit box and he says, Mr. Birmingham, I appreciate everything that you have done for us. And I think we would both love to join you and your wife for dinner. And his hand slithers into his wife's hand, and the moment she feels it, she takes a sharp look back at the conversation, and she nods. Yes, of course, of course. Dinner sounds lovely. And he sees the two of you enter with Elijah, and Elijah just kind of like tries not to be seen by any of them, but the bank manager sees him. Elijah, what are you doing out here? I thought I told you to keep Hugh out. And he stops, kind of a little startled. The marshal and old Luke are keeping him outside. And you will see that Garrett Birmingham spits on the ground. And then he immediately kind of pulls out a handkerchief, wipes his mouth, and he's, I'm sorry, ma'am, to Samantha Barrow first, and then turns to Mabel. I'm sorry, ma'am. I hate that you had to see that, but that man is nothing but trouble. I don't know where he came from, but nothing good comes of being in his company.
I think, excuse me, I just think that's kind of odd that you spit in your own establishment. Like now you got to pick that up. That don't seem right.
No, that's what Elijah's for. Once he's done with his business, he can come over and clean this floor up. Can't you, Elijah? And Elijah just kind of nods meekly. Yeah, of course, Mr. Birmingham. They're just here to check on a safety deposit box, and while they're doing that, I'll be happy to come out with a mop. And he's like, good. That's what I like to see, Elijah. Hustle. And he's like, Mr. Barrow, I'll be happy to escort you and your lovely wife outside. And I look forward to dinner this evening. And the Barrow kind of looks at Mabel and JB for a moment.
when he does that, I literally walk up to him and I just extend out my hand. I go, Mr. Brown, I don't think we formally met, but I'm John Boy, and this is Mrs. Mabel. It's a pleasure.
Yes. Are you a minor of mine?
No, but if you're looking for a scab, I'm always looking for money. And I
Oh,
actually put him on the shoulder, and I just feel like,
yeah. He looks down where you touched him. Yes. Dirty business. What's been happening at the mines, and this is when Luke comes in. I'm glad that there are people like you, John Boy, who are available to do work that needs doing.
I mean, I'm sorry to hear that you're having trouble in the mines. But I'm always looking for work.
Good.
In fact, and as he's saying that, but while he's talking, I'm actually eyeing the safety deposit box. I'm just like the one that he had. I was just like, got to be a lot of money in there.
Come by the office later. I'll make sure that my manager knows you wish to work with us. He nods as he puts on his hat and walks out with his wife.
Ma'am. And I look at his wife. I'm just,
Doesn't
pleasure.
acknowledge any of you.
Yeah.
Mabel's not looking to be acknowledged by any of them.
Yeah.
We're good.
Yeah. But Elijah takes you back to where the safety deposit box wall is, and he asks, for the information. You give it to him, and he pulls out a small box. It is 4 feet long, maybe 2.5 feet deep, but only 1.5 feet across. And he places it on a table off to the side. He's like, and he closes the curtain on the little French doors that lead to this side room. And he's like, I'll let you open it in the privacy. Once you're done, just give me a knock on the door, and I'll come over and put it back for you. And you see him. He closes the door, and after that, maybe like a couple seconds after that, you hear him shuffling off. You can see the shadow of his shape kind of shuffling off, and then you hear the sound of a heavy bucket being dragged over the floor.
Mabel knows that sound very well.
Mm-hmm.
Dirty business.
Yeah.
Luke, I don't know what you did, but apparently it was enough for this guy to spit on his own floor. That's just
Who?
unseemly.
The bank manager.
Do I know the bank manager?
Not personally.
I don't even know that guy.
Just spoke
I don't
a
even
bit of
I don't even
ill
know.
about you.
I mean, he's been here for X amount of years, but like, well, I got everything I need in the woods.
Mabel will open up the safety deposit box.
See the unseen.
Immediately.
There's nothing
You
hidden.
said I can do it?
Yeah,
Nope.
There's nothing hidden in the box. But you do notice that there is this frail-looking black gentleman standing in the corner, kind of with his hands kind of covering his chest, and he's just kind of rocking back and forth.
Wait,
I'm
that
not
just
looking at it.
appeared?
No,
Huh?
it's just only not looking at
Oh,
Okay.
it. I'm not acknowledging that it's there. I'm not
Okay.
looking at it. I'm just, yep. That's something that happens sometimes.
Yep.
It's not what I'm looking at. I'm looking at the box.
Yep.
Mabel will take off her traveling gloves and put on doctor's gloves.
Okay.
all right. Let's see what we get.
Inside,
Joel,
you will find the skeletal remains of a human corpse on top of a double-barreled shotgun.
I'm gonna look at John Boy.
There are 2 shells.
Sure, and I go ahead and I
Oh, I didn't say
shuffle the
that. I'm
bones.
just saying that ain't me.
I shuffle the bones off to the side a little bit. Take the shotgun out.
Yeah.
Is there anything?
They rattle like actual bones. The moment he like shifts them to the side to pick up the shotgun.
Want to
Doc, how
conservation?
tall do you think this person would be roughly if they were, not in a box?
Yeah.
And does it look like
Biology? Would that help me with knowing how big this person?
Oh,
is
you've studied. You're a learned individual.
Yeah.
Given the size of this, it is a broken spinal cord, but it looks like if it was laid out how it's supposed to be laid out, easily this person could have been 7 feet tall.
About 7 feet. Thereabouts, between the femur and the and she'll gesture to what the femur is,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and then she'll. Yeah, I know. She's gesturing to the femur, and then she gestures to the spinal cord. Based on just these 2 calculations alone, at least 7 feet.
gonna try to stop John Boy from reaching in the box anymore. 7 foot tall person. That's bigger than anybody I've ever seen.
Maybe we don't rush in and grab things, JB, because
I
she'll show
open
her
the
gloves of going.
Now
You don't know what this is, do you?
The shotgun is empty. No, the shotgun is empty. There's no bullets inside.
Okay, I wanted to check on that.
Two shots.
But you have 2 shots.
2 shots.
That shadow in the corner, not 7 foot tall, was it? I mean,
no, he's barely 5 feet tall.
Is there any notes, anything in there? Just a skeleton in a shotgun?
Just a skeleton in the shotgun. The barrel, the stock where it would kind of press up against the body has a very similar metallic oval with that same crescent moon of a G.
And I don't see it. I see it, and I'm like, did we leave the briefcase at Luke's place?
We would not have left it. If I had to lug that thing down the hill, it's not staying in my house.
Yeah, I was like, there's no way he would have left that in the house. Unattended?
Oh,
unattended? No,
that's a gift from God for me.
I reach out. Man, if I could see the briefcase right quick.
I don't think we should be opening this here.
Trust, no open, I promise.
Oh, thank God.
Wait, would Mabel recognize any of this, or is this just all
what
the
people
fuck?
in your family, man?
This is not anything that Mabel has dealt with.
Was Preacher Gaines a tall gentleman? Not saying 7 foot tall, but was he?
No, he was taller than average. He was like 5'8", 5'9".
Yeah, okay, so that's what I was like.
You know what? I think we should just close this up and pretend we haven't seen it.
I grab, I'm asking for the briefcase. I just want to check something, please.
Yeah,
Did John Boy pick up the shells?
Yes.
They're bird shot.
Why would you pick up a shot? Why would you pick up a shotgun without shells?
Why would you pick a shotgun up that's on a body?
They're bird shot, but they're metallic. It looks like there's just this kind of 3 or 4 dozen little metal pellets.
It's like a bright grayish color.
Yeah.
Like it's shiny. Yeah.
It's a little muted. It looks like it might have been shiny at one point, but it's been here a while, it looks like.
Okay. But the shells are still good. Judging by looking at it, the shells are still good. Out of the game real quick. Would John Boy have seen silver at one point in his life? Because I believe he had.
Sure.
So for sure he can say these are silver.
Silver bird shot.
Whoever Mr. G is, he's very fancy because it costs a lot of money to have silver bullets.
I'm immediately going to look at Doc. Just to see if that registered on her face
Does
when he said
it?
silver.
I
Would
kind of want to sell these.
I would know.
you get some good money out of that?
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, I can get them, dude.
I want to see how
Um,
deep down that folklore runs.
Yeah, Mabel knows the unknowable.
Yes, I do. Apparently.
So
And I am really much of the unknowing point right now.
yeah, but she's much more leaning towards flora more than fauna. Would Mabel have spent time like dissecting humans at all?
Between what her husband did and what she did in Trinity College, she would have learned quite a bit. Not just on what medicine can do for a body, but if, say, we had to preserve a body, where to put what in, how to preserve, how to keep things, intact.
Okay.
And she would know where the organs are and everything like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you want to make a an intellect test, you can.
Sure.
You can throw your biology at it, so that'll ease it by 1.
Okay.
Anything else you want to do, or just is that enough?
Let's see where the dice take me.
Okay.
I'm gonna look at John Boy and say, "Dude, he said it was silver. I would save those for very specific cases. It's not selling.
Yeah,
Let's
like
not shooting
one.
with birds. Let's not sell them.
No. Okay.
They're worth
Okay.
more for what they're used for than they are for that money."
Wait, please explain.
Waiting on her roll.
Yeah.
That's
Oh, that's right. That's right.
It's a what?
13.
13. There's a few things that don't add up when you really start to look at the skeleton. There's blunt force trauma that has caved in the left part of the skull. But there's also a thick hole that has shattered several of the ribs, more or less underneath where the heart would be.
Okay.
It almost looks like whatever did this to him was in an upward motion. But the trauma to the head is in a downward motion. So there's a lot of things that don't add up about
So
this.
a lot of things happened at once, possibly?
Maybe, or one thing happened before the other. One thing led to the other. But you also notice that whatever was afflicting this person misshaped a lot of his bones. There's spurs up and down different parts of the spinal cord. There's spurs on some of the joints in the fingers. And the digits look a little longer than they should, even for a 7-foot frame. Just slightly longer than they should.
So, how to teach a 5th grader? She will turn around with her gloved hands because she's not touching this barehanded at all. She will show the blunt charge trauma to the head, to the face, to where the ribs are, the spurs, and explain in 5th grade language everything that she's seeing right here and how it doesn't add up and how it's bad.
So you got hit here. Bones are bigger than they should be.
I know. Was there anything different with the skull? Did it look like a human skull?
It did. It was just misshapen. It looks like one of the hinges sat lower than it should. Almost like there is a deformity in the actual skeleton itself. It looks like this is definitely something that, given not only the size, but the way that this person's mouth was misshapen, that this is not somebody you could easily forget.
Yeah.
This is like some elephant man type deformity.
So, John Boy is pretty big.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe at least in my mind, the stature is there.
Yeah.
I would say I'm pretty average, maybe even on the smaller side. So, Miss Mabel, if I was to
Right.
point a gun at my height to something 7 foot tall and shot it with these little silver bullets here, well, birdshot in shells, but
Mm-hmm.
do you think that could cause the ribs to shatter?
Possibly. But here's the problem. And she'll gently take the skull up and show that bashing part. And she'll go, this isn't a down. And she'll kind of like do the gesture. She'll go, this is from a downward angle.
Yeah.
Then the shot, it came from the upward.
The rib cage wound looks circular, whereas the head wound, the skull wound, looks ovular, like a sharp ovular, almost like an axe wound or a sword wound.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. I thought it was the shots in the ribs cause little circular holes
Going up. That's not a far
I
leap.
was like shooting them, and then once
Yeah.
he doubled over, somebody hit him on the head with something. That's what my brain
That's not a far leap.
I just wanted to show, and I literally turn the handle and I show the stock. I'm like, I'm guessing whoever this guy is owned these things to show him the G, that it's the same.
or it was used to kill it. And I very clearly say it, not him or her.
Or
All I know is that this isn't ending up, and I don't think we should. I kind of want to leave it here because I don't know where else to take it.
Yo, can we leave? Can we take the gun? Do you think we can take the gun?
No, yeah, we should. And I'm already like trying to like wedge it in between my clothing.
So since we do have a little bit of privacy, and I don't think at least he is going to be a problem.
all of you will hear one of the plant vases in the corner shift, and it's coming from the same corner that Luke saw the meek individual.
No, not doing that.
I immediately looked in that direction just because I don't.
Yeah, no.
So, and I'm gonna pat John Boy on the shoulder and kind of bring his attention back to
Mabel's still kind of like into the body, trying to decipher what she can.
Is there? It's just the bones, the shotgun, the shells, nothing else inside this box.
Nothing else.
Remember how we were talking about earlier how some people seem to, and I'm trying to like point out, I'm choosing my words carefully here, that sometimes people change, and as you go through those growth spurts and changes,
I know what you're referring to.
and I just without having to go into really too much detail, I mean, this could be just one really big growth spurt.
John Boy will feel a cold feeling come over his right hand.
Are you referring to maybe a burst effect or something like that?
Maybe they were born like that. Maybe it's Mabel has a better idea.
Maybe it's Maybelline.
Maybe it's Maybelline.
Maybe it's Maybelline.
She'd be able to figure that out through biology as she's looking over the bones and the bone spurs and trying to rule out
I'm
things.
thinking somebody who could do what I can do.
I
And
can't do
he
what
had
you
to
can
get
do.
shot with the silver bullets.
Is it does the cold feeling stay on my hands, or does it start moving?
When you move it away, no. It almost feels like a small hand tried to hold your hand, and then the moment you pulled it away, it just kind of didn't follow you.
And I put it back in that same spot. Does it happen again?
Yeah.
And like they're just seeing me do this, literally just going back and forth for like a couple times. I'm like, okay, hold, hold.
I'm just
Not
gonna look
cold.
over. You're all right over there?
You see,
And I'm
you
literally
see
saying it out loud.
Yeah, you see the black gentleman just standing next to him and trying to hold his hand every time that he brings it down.
It's all right. Just put your hand down. Leave it there. It's all right. Now
Okay.
I think that you're right. I think we should leave the skeleton here. All right.
The moment you tell John Boy to keep his hand down, the black gentleman looks up in your direction and smiles. Yeah, you don't have to make eye contact, but you can see him.
He's smiling in my peripheral, and that's about it.
But you see him smile in your direction, and you see that there's teeth missing.
So, but Miss Mabel, I think you're right. I think we should leave this at rest.
I start putting the shell into the shotgun because now I'm just like, I don't know what's going on.
Okay,
that's fair.
How about this? We leave this poor soul in here for the moment, and then maybe procure a little bit of a box or something to bury them properly.
We'll make sure that all the rights for everyone that might need it, make sure they're taken care of.
I find it odd that somebody would put somebody in this into a safety deposit box.
John Boy, the feeling shifts from your right hand to your left hand.
Where I'm holding the shotgun, just like
Yep.
So I'm like, no. I move like at this point. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Move the shotgun over to her.
You can keep his hands off the
Do
gun.
you have a problem, John Boy? Is there something wrong?
Oh, it is getting stuffy in here.
Yeah.
I think.
And then Luke will feel the same coldness, like in his right hand. So he's come between you and John Boy, and he's holding both your hands.
Hold hands. God.
He's trying to hold both your hands.
I'll tell you what, though. I think
Luke,
we should do. I think that what we should do is, I'll tell you what. We're gonna play a game.
I love that John Boy's like, Luke, and Luke's like,
Luke.
I know.
So I think we should play a game. We're gonna leave this here. We're gonna close it back up. We're gonna lock it. Elijah didn't need. I just feel the kind of the weight or the lack of weight will go with my arm, but he doesn't need to take care of this. We'll lock it up. We'll put it away for him to store, and then I think the three of us, we're gonna play a little game. We're going to go out of the room. And then everybody else can stay here, and I'm very nodding. And then when we come back to take him
everybody else.
Yeah. And when we take him out to rest, that person, we'll make sure everybody else gets a little surprise. So come on out. And I'm just going to try to kind of stretch your arms out a little bit and kind of wave John Boy's arm a little bit, maybe get
I'm just like what I'm trying to do is because I have a loaded weapon now, and I literally can't walk out of a bank with a loaded weapon. So I'm at least taking the shells out and leaving it open so that it's showing that it's not fireable.
In Luke's periphery, once you put the safety deposit back in the wall, the little frail black gentleman kind of goes over and just kind of puts his hand up on the wall and just puts his head up against it, right where the box is.
Okay.
Are you all right?
Oh yeah, I just started feeling the real stuff in here. It's bad air. I'm just gonna.
Is this the kind of the same thing?
That's not for here. That's not for here. I like that Luke has that. Not right now. That's not a question for now.
Will not.
I want out of the ghost box. I want out of the ghost box. I'm just gonna wait for Elijah to come open the.
Yeah. Once you knock, you hear the sound of a wooden handle hit the floor, and then you just see the shape kind of get darker and bigger as he comes over and he opens the door. You all done here?
Thank you.
Oh, you put it back. Yeah, let me take care of that. And he pulls out a little set of keys, and he goes over, and you see that he doesn't unlock the box, but he does lock a mechanism in the wall.
Thank you so much. I do appreciate it.
Oh yeah, of course. Did you get everything you needed from it? Did you need to come back at some point?
I might be having to come back. Just a
all right.
couple of things to touch up, but
I'll-
I appreciate you helping me on this.
I'll change the paperwork then, and make sure that we don't sell the box to somebody else then.
Yes, that would be wise. Thank you. And
Yeah.
when I finish everything, I'll make sure I close it out if you need it.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, he rushes back, and you see him pick up his mop handle, and it looks like he's not only mopped the area where the manager spit, but the area around the 2 desks that are in that side of the building. And he's kind of left the side with the safety deposit boxes and the front door dry, so that you can leave without worry. And then once you leave, he actually does finish mopping the bank.
I wanted to ask the safety deposit box that this high roller, it's no longer there.
No, it's in the safe. That's a different level of safety box.
Yeah, I figured. Okay.
Now, the guy that owns this, was his name Barrow or Birmingham?
Birmingham. Barrow was the gentleman that has
The
come
guy that
in.
walked out.
Yeah.
I got mixed up on the intros of like which one was. What's his first name?
Barrow
No,
or Birmingham.
The guy that doesn't like me.
Oh, where is that?
Garrett
Birmingham.
Just on the way out.
Mhm.
Now, is he still in the office that Elijah's mopping? Like, did he sit
He's
there while this
in
guy
the side
mopped
office.
around
He's
him?
no, he's in a side office. His office is actually where if the bank was a church, it would be the main part of the bank has 4 desks, and then it has 2 side rooms. One is where the normal safety deposit boxes are, and one is where the manager's office is with the safe.
Okay.
Yeah. Otherwise, it's T.
I was going to make eye contact, but if he's just in a different room, I'm not going to go hunt him down to be an asshole.
No. The door is ajar so that he can hear Elijah working. But otherwise, no, he's busy. Paperwork.
I yell out, Garrett, thanks for your help. Appreciate it.
He looks up.
I don't know. I'm just gonna, Mr. Birmingham, it was good to see you again.
Looks back down at his papers.
I'm just gonna walk away.
Yep.
Don't walk away.
I love how he just looked up at me. He's like, yeah, bye. And I have this, open shotgun. I'm just like, cool.
You know what I need, boss?
Yeah, man, whatever was in that is up to you guys to do whatever you want with. They don't ask questions.
Yeah.
Well, I know that the marshal or this guy outside might ask some questions, so we're gonna see about that in a moment.
No, you go outside and there's no marshal.
Oh.
Yeah, the street's pretty starting to fill up with the typical morning traffic. But yeah, nobody pays you mind. You've got the shotgun kind of underarmed like a hunter does. So
Yeah, as long as you carry the brake open, they don't care.
yeah.
All right. Oh, so now, can you tell me why I was all of a sudden getting chilly in there?
Yeah. As soon as we get, it is lawfully crowded out here. Lawfully crowded. Do you? No, she closed out her room. Damn it.
No, I didn't close out my room. I just didn't go back to my room.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. Well, since my place is way up there, I think the only privacy.
Very well. Come on over to where I rented a room, and she'll take them over.
Okay, good, because my place, there's no way more than one person can be in there, so I'm letting you learn now.
I'm
What are
assuming
you
I have
doing
a parlor and then a bedroom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
She'll go, why don't you guys just make yourself at home for a moment? I'm going to go properly change into something a bit fresher. She'll go into the room, close the door, and change her dress, and then come back out. Now, what in the bleeding hell was all that?
Okay, Rav, do I get the sensation, the see the unsation seeing
Mhm.
that was his body?
No,
Okay, because we put it in there and you said he put his head. I was like, okay, that's some like intimate.
there was definitely an intimate
Oh,
sensation, but
okay.
it wasn't like,
It wasn't
oh, my body's
this is
gone.
me. Okay.
Yeah, no,
Oh.
but you did catch the intimacy of there's a connection there.
So why I need y'all to be weird. I need y'all to get real weird real quick. To
Okay.
offset.
Is it anything like that German book? Like my mom used to read it to me. Grimm fairy tales. Anything like that?
That's more history than fairy tales. Yeah, kind of basic. So while that might be a giant's skeleton, there was a much shorter, regular sized. There was something else there with us.
Okay.
Very friendly. And there's
Okay.
no reason to change that when it was obviously really attached to the skeleton. Definitely not the skeletons.
Was it a ghost, a spirit, apparition?
It was would I say like a youngish, like
Late 20s, early 30s.
yeah. I would
The
just describe him
the frailty of him, though, the sickly nature of his appearance and the lack of teeth. It could have been a younger person that just had a really rough life.
Yeah,
But he looked late 20s, early 30s.
and I'll just describe that. And
Oh, what was it? A valet or a footman?
I think he was a friend. I think he was just he knew whatever that was, or had grown accustomed to it being there and found some connection with it in there. But
what I want to know is why is a dead body in there?
Well,
with a shotgun.
There's those shells.
Who's got the suitcase?
Oh, I don't
know. If he's got the shotgun, I probably have the suitcase at this point.
Okay. Could you make a might test for me?
Oh yeah, I'm really great at that.
Yeah.
I mean, what had happened was I had taken the shotgun and he had
and I, the one with the bigger might, had the suitcase.
You don't have might defense trained.
I don't. I would like to throw so much effort at this. How do I do that?
You've got one level of effort. You got one level of effort you can throw at it, so it's going to cost you 3 points because you have no edge.
Nope.
On might, at least.
So, okay.
But that'll ease the task by 1, which is good.
Is there anything that that I can throw at this? It's like understanding, or identifying, or not dying.
You're not gonna. Yeah,
quite a long time now.
You're not gonna die from the situation. It's just once it happens, then you can start to identify what happened.
This doesn't knock off my danger sense, does this? Like, I'm in danger.
You're not in danger.
19.
You're not in danger. That is the operative. Nice. That's the operative phrase.
Yeah. Yeah. Luke will feel the sudden, just kind of hard hit of a hand on the back of his that is holding the suitcase. Almost like somebody saying, "Put that down. That doesn't belong to you."
I'm going to get a tighter grip on it, and see the unseen.
All right. Could Mabel describe her husband for us?
Oh, you son
of fuck me!
Yay! What's your husband's name?
Emotional damage.
William T, ironically, was her second husband, and he stood at 6 feet tall. He had reddish brown hair and green eyes. He was of middle build. He wasn't a very athletic, but he had a nice bulk to him. It's not hard to see his I would say Midwestern features. But you also see that he did work. So he had a tannish skin to him, and he had a bit of bit of wrinkles around the eyes, and you could see the gray wisps in his hair. He was older, much older than Mabel. You would
But
say about late 40s, mid 50s.
you see that gentleman trying
I am
to.
going to make eye contact and just look. I'm just going to tilt my head like, what?
And he goes over and he stands behind her, like very doting.
Miss Mabel.
What is it?
He wants
She's
you to have
fixing her
this.
hair and such.
This is yours to hold. It's not mine. And I want to look at him again
Ooh.
and just look. Father figure? I'm just going to kind of briefly.
My father's
badly
very much a
describe him.
father. My father's alive.
I'm
Oh,
going to
oh, is this
briefly but
is
badly
this like
kind of describe him.
She'll just kind of put her hand over her mouth for a moment and just kind of back up and like, I'm sorry, you didn't know my husband, did you?
You feel the coldness as you step through him.
Okay, that was cold.
We're getting introduced.
oh,
He says that's yours, by the way, not mine.
I'm sorry.
Keep there's your shells in the pockets. And I'm very sketchy about the shells. Because I don't know if that's going to do anything to me or not.
He's here in this room.
Yeah.
She unleashes a load of Irish right then and there. That I'm sure these two gentlemen do not know what she's saying.
I start
He's got facial
going into my
expressions. I
pocket like
recognize
it's
those.
this, and I start
Perfect.
grabbing the shells. I'm like, is this the time? is this what's going on now?
Perfect
have-
reaction from everybody.
If the ghost can hear her, she's going to yell and curse at him and then say, "You better tell me what the bleeding hell is going on, because I am not liking this at all."
Luke will see him kind of come around. He'll come around and stand in front of her, and he'll bring his hands up to either side of her face, and Mabel will feel her face kind of get cold. He doesn't touch you. Excuse me. I'm so thrown by how everybody reacted to this. He won't touch her face, but his proximity is enough to kind of sap the heat. And Luke will just
He's
see.
stiffed and holding onto her hands, trying not to shake.
Yeah. Luke will see him very caring. Just kind of turn in his direction and point at the suitcase. And then point at Mabel again. And then he will look in the direction. His face will contort, almost like in a mixture of unknowing and fear. And Luke will see him being torn ectoplasmic fistful by ectoplasmic fistful as he's being ripped towards the window.
My initial reaction is to close the vision off, but I'm going to watch until.
Yep. Yeah, the last thing that goes is his head, and it never turns away from Mabel. It is even in his final moment being pulled into what you imagine is oblivion. His concern is Mabel.
So he was just trying to show me that you needed that suitcase.
Okay, what's he doing now?
That was his message that he had to give in the moment. And you can tell that there's emotion there that it's not probably all that it is.
Okay. First things first. If you are a friend of mine, you do not lie to me. I don't lie to you. You have a stuttering kind of hindrance in your voice that isn't telling me everything. I want to know everything.
He's not here anymore, and he's gone, and I don't know if that's good or bad. So sometimes when you don't have good news to give, you don't have bad news to give. That was the message he had in the moment. He was
Is he going to
being
come
ripped
back?
apart. I don't know.
Ripped apart. How?
And Luke would just hear a small voice at his side. He's not coming back, Papa.
I want to turn that vision right off. There's
Noted.
Do I know anything about? Because you chose your words there with Oblivion. Would I have seen something like that happen before, or have heard of something like that happening before?
When spirits try, no.
Oh.
When spirits try to renege on their debts, they are forcibly forced to move on. They don't transcend. You know what transcendence look like. You've seen it.
Okay.
You've seen it once. On one of the two most important people. This was a debt being collected.
I'm going to relay that.
Yep.
He wanted you to have that, and as soon as he gave it to you, or I gave it to you for him, something made him pay for it. Now, I don't know if he wants you to have that open and have what's inside wrap itself around you. Not with the love that I saw on that man's face for you, but you're the only one that needs to touch that. Don't let nobody have it. Not us. Not anything that looks like us. Nothing besides you touches that. Because it wasn't him finishing his last business. Somebody made him pay for making you have that.
What the
And these are the gifts.
I don't understand at all about all of this. She'll go over and take it, and she'll just look and go,
It doesn't feel as heavy.
so open it then.
I don't know.
Well, you apparently see a lot more than I do.
You might need. Okay, let's. We might have some more answers. We might. No, I want you to hold that gun. I would love it if you could hold that gun.
No, I'm holding the gun at the briefcase, and I'm just waiting for it to open again. I'm like,
oh,
yes, shoot the flowers.
I'm shooting something. Something's happening. I have no idea. This is confused panic that I'm having at this moment. I'm like,
I've been. I don't want to. I don't want to save myself after you just suffered.
Suffered a lot more than this, so.
You didn't see what I saw. John Boy, I'm going to ask you to do me a favor. One shell of that, you can do whatever you want to with. But if I become 7 feet tall, just shoot me with that thing. Because it might actually work. I can change.
Let's not.
No. I'm just saying I'm about to do something else that I've been putting off. And we're not alone. And I'm going to just turn it back on and see if I can see who I think is around me.
You don't see what you are dreading to see, but the second you turn it on, you will see that there is a gray ch.2 with these deep, piercing blue eyes on the windowsill staring at you from outside. You're not sure if it's because you turned on your ability or if it's always been there and you just now noticed it when you were relieved not to find what you were dreading to find next to you.
Is it inside the windowsill or
No, it's
outside?
outside. It's outside.
Okay.
But it's kind of looking in. It's very much focused on the three of you.
Do I
And
hear a little voice calling me daddy from that cat? Okay.
Nope. But
So
we both, Mabel and I noticed him staring at this window, right?
oh yeah, the second that all of you look at the cat, it's startled and it just runs off.
when it's startled, in the midst of it being startled, as we all look at the cat at the same time, Mabel will open up the briefcase.
Nothing's in it.
Nothing's in it.
Nothing's in it.
Oh, but also the cat that we saw outside immediately saw us, ran.
There's nothing in the. It's empty.
Mhm.
She looks over at Luke with a questioning look, like,
I'm going to pace around the room, and as I loop around, want to close the curtains. I'm gonna do my perimeter check while I have the light on, and just kind of look like I'm lost in thought,
Yeah.
and looking for what to say. Do I see anything?
The moment you close the curtains off and you throw yourselves into a darkened room, it's not dark because some of the light is still bleeding through, but it is darker than when you first came in. You'll notice that there's a bulge in the little kind of extra pocket that the lid has to the suitcase, but otherwise it is empty. Clean, too. Doesn't look like it ever had dirt inside of it at all, or flowers.
No ghost kids?
There's a bulge.
No ghost kids.
does Mabel see the bulge or no?
Mhm.
Mabel will go and open the bulge, apparently.
Touch the bulge.
No, we're opening the bulge. We're not touching, we're opening. It's a difference.
Are your hands gloved or are you ungloved?
Hands are gloved.
Okay. So you won't feel the texture because of your gloves, but you'll definitely feel that whatever you have in your hand as you're about to pull it out is very loose, almost like easily crushed and pulverized as you close your hands. And as you pull it out, you will see that it's just a fistful of kudzu grass.
What is kudzu grass?
Kudzu are vines that were brought over here from Japan, and they are extremely hard to kill and extremely fast growing. You could burn an entire hillside of kudzu and it'll be back next year.
And
Kind of just puts it back.
yeah, and as everybody gets to see the handful of kudzu grass, and Mabel asks what it is, and Luke gives her the learned definition of it from having his time here. This is a good place to call it for tonight. So,
Okay.
yeah. So I want to thank you guys for letting me take you on another chapter of our ghost story. I want to thank you personally. I want to thank the audience, both here and on Sway's channel. As always, I want to give you guys a chance to kind of plug whatever you're doing. So Kenny, we'll start with you. Where can people find you if you want to be found online?
You can find me on socials under Mr. Underscore with the underscore in between each word. You can also, I'm more active on TikTok than anything, and barely. So I also have Creator Doc. If you ever want to see some of the old stupid stuff I used to do for gaming,
Yeah.
hopefully I'll get back into doing that. And yeah, just trying to figure out what the hell is going on in this game.
Okay.
As JB, that's essentially what's going on.
Okay. Junie, where can people find you if you want to be found?
On the internet.
Mhm.
I happen to be I'm on Twitch. I'm on a whole bunch of other socials, but you can find me on my channel doing creative stuff, crocheting because we strangle yarn, not people apparently, but for Will's case, we might make an exception. Other than that, you will find me here. You will find me on McStabber Studios doing Dark Ages, Changeling, Werewolf, and I am the storyteller for a Chicago story of vampires. And you also find me on Rerolls playing Mage and maybe 20th at some point.
Nice. And Sway, I know that you got your channel up, but from my channel, where can people find you if you want to be found online?
You can find me at Sway FM on
Swayfum.
Twitch and everywhere. Swayfum. Sway FM on Twitch, sway.fm on TikTok.
The TikToks.
The TikToks. I don't do nearly as much as Junie does. And I feel like I need to like kind of
gets
step
around.
up with my, yeah.
She's busy.
I haven't played half of the systems. I'm really jealous. But over on Twitch, we do variety games, horror games, indie games. We're going to be doing storytelling as well because we talked about it earlier. I told Rav I was going to drag him by his pinky toe into everything I want to do.
You better.
Exactly. But we're going to be diving into the cryptids and mythos of Appalachia and the rest of the United States, and hopefully to evolve into maybe even a call-in show where people call in and tell us their stories for the night.
Fancy.
Or
That's
I play
cool.
pre-recorded because I don't trust live callers.
Smart.
Where we take those calls offline and this is a call from, but that's kind of what we're doing. I haven't figured it all out, but we want to do spooky stuff going forward. So I'm always going to be and always have been a storyteller. So
Nice.
however we can mash
Good.
all those things together.
Good. As always, and again, thank you for trusting me with this story and being your guide to this new system for all three of you, I think. As always, we take mental health on the channel very seriously, so please know that it is okay to not be okay. And if you feel like you need help and you're watching live, there are phone numbers going up in my Twitch chat, so you can reach out and find people that want to help you. You can call or text. There are both lines available. If you're not in the United States or you're watching this on YouTube later, they'll be in the description box. But there's also a link that you can go to called findthehelpline.com that'll help you find the resources in the area that you are closest to. Because the scariest thing about it is taking that first step. Just know that there are people out there who want to help you, and all that it requires is you getting that help for yourself. So as always, be safe, take care of yourselves. Thank you for coming along with us, and we will see you when we see you. Have a good night, guys. Bye.
Good night.